I know it in our locker room, I know how the boys took to you. What, in your opinion, what were the differences in the ECW locker room compared to the WWF locker room with your presence with the cameras? Because like we just said, it was like sacred back then. Like, people didn't want the fans to see people going over their matches and the heels and the baby faces sitting together.
Right.
Did you experience any, I don't want to use the word like bullying or hatred.
Hostilities.
I'm sorry?
Hostilities.
Hostility is a good word. What did you experience that from any of the wrestlers? And what was the difference between our locker room and the WWF locker room towards your crew?
Well, there were some who really objected to me being there. Like Sabu was very much against me being there.
Mm-hmm.
Years later, I ran into him at an autograph thing, and he just walked by me and he said, "Good film."
Oh, that's a lot coming from him. So, okay.
WWE was a little more open. The wrestlers were a little more open. There seemed to be one locker room where had guys who didn't want to be in the movie, which I respected, and the other locker room they were fine.
Okay. So the one locker room that didn't want to be in the movie would be my locker room, which was the ECW locker room.
Right.
And the more welcoming locker room you're saying was the WWF crew.
Yeah.
Okay. I do remember, there were times when I felt so bad for you. We would be going, because it was a pay-per-view, and
right.
we're going over matches and stuff. You could just feel Barry's presence over you. And I knew what you were doing. Honest to God, I knew what you were doing. But like, I know some of the guys were like getting really agitated. And I was just like, oh my God, I feel so scared for Barry right now. Like, I want to protect him.
Well, one threw a garbage can at me.
Oh my God, this is so sad for me.
And then he apologized.
I was nice to you, wasn't I?
Yeah, you were very nice to me.
I think I was. Okay. Yeah, I just remember, the big thing, like I said, it was kayfabe, and they thought that, you guys not being workers, entering our world and our locker room and exposing secrets of the business. Like back then, you did not see that.
Right.
So
but my goal wasn't to expose the secrets.
I'm sorry, say again?
My goal wasn't to expose the secrets.
What was your goal with this film? Tell me your goal.
The show rests. I was really, they said our fans going to like it. And I'm going, yeah, they're going to like it because I'm a fan. And I put things in it that I would like to see.
So the behind the scenes stuff is what you're really interested in, because nobody was doing it. You broke the fourth wall back then.
Right.
Which was incredible to see.
Yeah.
Okay.
I know backstage was more interesting than what happens in the ring.
Yeah, I'm honored that I had just a little tiny part in there, even though I was sobbing. I'll never forget my little part that I had, and you included Paul's speech, which was one of my favorite moments ever. I've been in the sport for 30 years, and that night just is embedded in my head. And anytime I want to hear that speech, I could just go to a clip from your movie. So thank you for including that. But just brilliantly done. Again, I just, I felt so bad for you and your crew, and hopefully some of us were, like you said, super kind to you, and don't worry about the others, because I think they were just trying to protect the business, as they call it, but I don't think you were trying to hurt it either.
No.
You're just trying to show a different side.
I made the movie for people who don't like wrestling, who don't take it seriously.
Okay.
And I wanted to show them what I saw, how I watch wrestling. I mean, I watch wrestling still, and 95% of it, I'm going, how am I watching this? What am I doing wasting my time?
Really?
And there's 5 minutes of it where I go, this is incredible. How come people don't like this? How come everybody can't see it this way?
What were your first impressions of of ECW coming in. Were you a fan of the product, or did you just hear about this crazy company and you wanted to include it? Terry Funk.
Yeah, he said,
Okay.
You got to go see them. These guys, they're crazy. It's
And
crazy.
how many shows did you actually attend?
I attended like 4 shows.
Okay, what did you think? Because it's a lot different than what the WWF was doing at the time.
I thought it was great. I thought the fans were great, and the interaction between the fans and the wrestlers was fantastic.
Right.
It was my favorite place to go.
Oh,
that's awesome.
That's great. I like to hear that. I'm glad you weren't turned off by the product.
No. I was there the night. Who said the thing about crucifixion?
That was,
wow.
We just did a was it a YouTube?
It was a part of, we did a whole episode about angles that hold up and angles that don't, and one of them that don't was the crucifixion.
In my opinion, that was the worst thing that has ever been done in wrestling. That's in my opinion. I hated that so much. And as soon as it was done, I ran up to Paul and I screamed in his face.
Right.
It appalled. I was appalled. It sickened me. I don't like religion being brought into anything, whether it's something I believe in or not. I just thought it was in really, really poor taste. And that was the first time I ever saw people walk out of the arena and want their money back.
You're right. Well, someone came out and made an apology.
Raven did. And Paul had to force him to do that because he didn't want to do it.
Right.
He didn't want to do
it. Angle at that show?
Yes, and we lost the deal with Kurt because of that.
Right.
Kurt was supposed to work for us, and when he saw that, he left. So I think that was good that happened for Kurt's career.
Right.
Because obviously, look at him now. But when I think back to things that I am so glad I was not a part of, that one is first on my list, because I would have told them absolutely not. I wouldn't have did it. Just sickened me. I didn't like it, but I'm sorry you had to be there for that debacle. Because
what a show to be there for.
Yeah, right. That was terrible. But other than that, I had a ball. We did some crazy angles. We really did.
Crazy angles. Crazy angles.
Yeah.
It was called extremes.
It's true. It's true. Would you ever make a Beyond the Mat 2?
I don't think so.
Okay.
Because I covered everything I wanted to in the first one.
Right.
And I don't want to rip wrestling fans off by just putting something together and go, here's 2.
Right. Is there any chance, because it's the 25th year anniversary, would you be able to re-release it in theaters or something like that?
That's a Universal call. Universal Films call.
Okay, so you have nothing to do with that.
Right.
You should request that, because I think it would do well. I really do.
I think it would do well if it was a one night only.
But you would have to do it in all the cities. You couldn't just do it in New York and LA, because a lot of people wouldn't be able to get to it.
Right.
But I think that would be so cool to be able to see it on the big screen one more time. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because it was groundbreaking. I'm not just kissing your ass right now. It was so incredibly different for the time that we were in. And you did it. You, like I said, broke that fourth wall, and you let people into a business that was so closed off. And people always wondered what is going on, what happens when they're, going over their matches, and what does the back look like, and the wrestlers traveling together, and who's friends with who. You got to step foot into our world, and that was extremely rare.
Right.
And you did that. So you should be really proud, because look at all.
I'm very proud of the film. I should do the show every week.
But look at all of the shows that have come. You spawned so many reality shows that have to do with wrestling. You did it first.
Right.
And
there's a difference between the reality and film shows in my film, I think.
Well, there is, but you set the tone for it.
Right.
You brought people into a world that they're not supposed to be into. And then it just evolved with the times. You know what I mean? But like back then, that had never happened before. And it was so extraordinary and so out of the box. And, you know, as a wrestling fan myself, seeing something like that was mind blowing because you did not see that anywhere else.